Welcome to the Bandano Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Imagine thinking that the WNBA owners are going to give you 4 times your salary, are going to give you $1 million contracts, and then saying, perfect, I'm going to get $1 million contract. And then these owners, they're not going to care if I go play an Unrivaled. They're not going to care if I go play overseas. Newsflash, ladies, yes, they are going to care. If WNBA owners say, here's $1 million contract, they don't want you to play in Unrivaled. And the fact that Satou Sabali, the fact that Nafisa Collier, the fact that they didn't understand this throughout this entire process and suddenly seem surprised that that's the reality of the situation, who's advising them, who's in their corner, who are they talking to? The fact that Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart can look at the public with a straight face and tell us there is no conflict of interest between being a co-founder of the Unrivaled League and being president and vice president of the WNBA Players Association, looking at the public saying there's no conflict of interest, thinking we're all fools and say, oh, you know what? I thought there was a conflict of interest this whole entire time, but if you say there's no conflict of interest, there's no conflict of interest. Imagine thinking that these owners are going to be okay paying you millions of dollars so you can go get injured in Unrivaled. A league that has more injured players than layups made. A league that had more relief contracts than guaranteed contracts. Ladies, you have another thing coming to you, and I hope you wake up, because sooner or later, if you don't, the 2026 season, bye-bye. 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 Before we get into what Satou Sabali said most recently, before we get into what Nafisa Collier said most recently, Lisa Leslie! Lisa! Shout out to Steve Urkel. Oh, he loved himself some Lisa. Lisa Leslie, on the pregame show yesterday, during the halftime show yesterday, was part of the CBS Sports Network production crew. And Lisa Leslie gave us her 2 cents on Caitlin Clark coming back from an injury. Lisa Leslie, though not in her 20s, in her 30s, she sustained an injury very similar to this deep groin injury that Caitlin Clark is currently dealing with. And Lisa Leslie said, if it was up to me, if I'm the coach, if I'm the GM, I'm not risking it for the biscuit. In 8th seed, nah, I'm good. Go up against the Lynx just to have the stud buds put their hands all over her? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to look for CeCe's future. She's not coming back. Are the Indiana Fever going to follow that same playbook? With all the smoke screens that they send out, who knows? With all the sleight of hand that they do, who knows? With all the false announcements, who knows? Let's take a listen in here what Lisa Leslie had to say on Caitlin Clark and whether or not she would bring her back.
It's mid-July, but perhaps could be nearing a return to help the playoff push, and she could provide quite a boost, Lisa.
She could provide an amazing boost, but again, I'm just going to put my coach's hat on, my GM hat on, you want to see Caitlin Clark for the longevity of her career? I'm just thinking, me personally, I would not put Caitlin Clark back on the floor this season. And the only reason why I say that is because I had the injury that she had. That deep groin injury is nothing to play around with. It can feel like you've never had it. You make one move, one cut, boom, she's back in the same spot. I don't know that it's worth risking it. If they get the 8th spot and you get into the playoffs, is it really worth looking at Minnesota round 1? I don't know. That's just my opinion. What you think?
Man, I mean, it would be lovely to get her back, but we care about Caitlin Clark playing basketball for a very, very, very long time. And so you don't want her to return unless she's 100% healthy. I'm thinking about more so from the player perspective of the pressure that Caitlin Clark is facing, getting back on the court. Her logo was just released a few days ago. I mean, obviously, we've seen the fans and the number of people in attendance for the Fever. And so it's been tough, I would imagine, mentally for her to have sat out this many games her second season. I'm wondering if that pressure is starting to get to her a little bit about just returning this season and showing us that you can play basketball again. Yeah.
Is there pressure for Caitlin Clark to come back? I will say this. When Caitlin Clark does come back, if she comes back this year, if we see her next year, the year after, depending on the lockout, people want to see the exciting Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing her last couple years at Iowa. If you followed her whole entire career at Iowa, her rookie season, 13. We want to see an exciting Caitlin Clark. We want to see a Caitlin Clark that has the freedom to play her game. Not the Caitlin Clark that's setting off-ball screens and standing in a corner. Not the Caitlin Clark that's playing in this nonsensical motion offense. Not the Caitlin Clark that's giving us 15 points and 10 assists. That's not the Caitlin. We want to see the Caitlin Clark that's giving us 25 and 10. We want to see the Caitlin Clark that has no reserves about pulling up from 30. That's what we want to see. Is there pressure on that matter? You're going to have to ask Caitlin Clark. But when we hear her talk in post-game interviews, she knows what the fans came for. She knows what the fans want to see. She knows that we want to be entertained. She knows that we want to see her put on a show. We want to see them win at the same time. We want to be entertained at the bare minimum. And Caitlin Clark, one of the most skilled players to ever grace this league, hands down. The biggest entertainer this league has ever seen, even in the 40, 53, 2 playoff games, even in the 55 games that we've seen her in. There has never been an entertainer in this league like Caitlin Clark. There's never been somebody that puts butts in seats, whether it's seats in the building or seats on the couch in your living room, turning on Ion to watch CC play. There's never been a bigger draw than her. If Caitlin Clark comes back and we see this turn into a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter in Stephanie White's brilliant offense, fans will still be pissed. Trust me. We want to see Caitlin Clark come back healthy and play her game, not come back healthy and play Stephanie White's game. It is what it is. To what Lisa Leslie said, Lisa Leslie's talking about you could feel good 1 second, next thing you know, you make one cut, doesn't feel good. Lisa Leslie had the injury before. Lisa Leslie also was in her 30s. Lisa Leslie also played a big power forward center, depending on the lineups. The amount of cutting that Lisa Leslie did compared to Caitlin Clark pales in comparison. The amount of ground Lisa Leslie covered during the span of a game compared to Caitlin Clark pales in comparison. So you want to take the extra precaution to make sure you're not jeopardizing her health any further. Because it would piss me off beyond belief if they somehow do rush Caitlin Clark back. She gets thrown into a game with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter with brilliant Stephanie White, and Caitlin Clark is seen thriving in pain, digging her head in the stanchion. Nothing would tick me off more. Caitlin Clark, I wish you a speedy recovery. I hope to see you back sooner rather than later. I want to be entertained. From a pure selfish standpoint, me being selfish, me wanting to be entertained, come back. But if you're not healthy, don't risk your health. If you're not healthy, don't risk it. Selfishly, I want to be entertained. Satu Sabali. She doesn't understand things don't need to be made public for common sense to take over.
Satu, you were saying on TikTok that the league doesn't want you guys playing Unrivaled, the league doesn't want you guys playing overseas. What was expressed to you?
I wasn't aware that they already publicly announced that. I mean, that's wrong. I made more money at Unrivaled than excluding this year in my entire WNBA career, so that's not right.
So keep your ass in Unrivaled. You make more money over there? See ya. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Go to Unrivaled and make a bag over there. Or, let's think, accept the deal the owners are putting forth, make more than Unrivaled, your current contract, and an overseas contract combined with $1 million deal, and take off the summer. Because these owners aren't going to be paying you millions of dollars for you guys to go get injured in Unrivaled. That's not happening. The fact that you needed that to be made public, or you think that needed to be made public for people to understand that, Satu. People saw this play 2 years ago. People saw this play a year and a half ago when the writing's been on the wall. You guys have been late to the party. You guys didn't realize that the owners were gonna. It's crazy. Let's hear what Nafisa Collier had to say on that matter.
Feels like it's going same old, and we're not making a lot of progress. So definitely, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like the league, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. We obviously want to get a deal done. It feels like the league doesn't have that same urgency, and the deadline is quickly approaching. So, I feel like a lot of stuff has to get done. We're not really close right now.
The league made some concessions. The league tried to get a deal done. Here's more money. Here's a bigger salary cap. They probably even said, here's some expanded rosters. They probably even said, here's better living arrangements. They probably even said, we'll upgrade some facilities. But what they didn't say, you guys can play in Unrivaled too. They did not say that. They said, you guys want all this? You need to cough up something. You guys want to make a deal? We're capitulating. We're willing to make a compromise. We're willing to make a deal. The players want their cake and eat it too. They want to have their cake and eat it too. And the owners aren't going for that. Ladies need to wake up to reality. Because time's running out. And all this momentum that Caitlin Clark has donated to this league, all the spotlight that Caitlin Clark has been kind enough to give this league, there's no 2026 season. Poof. Goodbye. How many of these fans do you really think are going to stick around for another year waiting for the WNBA to return? People are going to get back to their lives. They're going to get back in the habits of watching whatever they were watching prior. Capitalize on the momentum and accept the deal that's in front of you. If not, stop complaining. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I appreciate all of the support. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Would you guys bring Caitlin Clark back if we were an 8th seed? Would you leave her out? Over, under, or yes or no? 2026 season, yes or no? See you next time, and as always, take it easy.